The session for today is ways to use video or product video to help increase conversion rate. And I think specifically, how do you better use video on your PDP? And we got some really cool examples, and I'm excited to see some of the examples that you've got for us. But that's the goal and the topic of the session. And I think, generally speaking, like the opportunity, at least the way I see it, be curious to get your perspective, Omri, is I think a lot of brands are maybe underutilizing video, or video at times feels like there's a really high like barrier to entry, or there's an intimidation factor when it comes to video. But video, and specifically on your PDP, is just like one of the best ways to really build trust in your product and your brand, and ultimately increase conversion rate on your PDP. So there's a lot of opportunity there, and a well-made product video. Like I said, I think it can do a really good job in a lot of heavy lifting in terms of getting people to add products to cart and understand what a product does, especially if your product is like overly technical or something that requires a lot of education. And it doesn't always need this massive budget or production team. There's ways to create video at scale, and I think we're going to talk about some of those things today.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I would frame it a little bit differently. I think brands use video a lot. They use it for ads, for example. I don't think that probably they spend most of their budget on creating video for ads. Somehow PDP got neglected throughout the years. My background is actually, I actually coming from the intersection of advertising and gaming. I spent most of my career working for an ad network, later on acquired by Unity. And I was shocked to see that the amount of investment in ads versus the PDP, that's where the actual sales happen, right? That's like where you really, really need to convince a person to purchase. And any improvement into the percentage of conversion really translates into sales and trickles throughout your entire funnel. Whatever you're gonna do there is gonna fall out through all your ads campaigns and all your dimension efforts.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it. Actually, we have some similar experiences. Prior to being a Platter, I was my background is in performance marketing, so working with a lot of brands, and a lot of them, I was working with them to create video content. Largely, I would say like more of creator style content, but just every single day thinking about how we can create new video content to pump into Meta. But it was almost like the website or like their storefront, or more specifically their PDP, where like the conversion actually happened, was this like neglected asset, and the video assets that they may or may not have had on their PDPs like never changed ever, and there was kind of an afterthought. So I think it's a really good way to frame it. It's just like it's something that they think about second after their ad campaigns and any of the video assets that they were actually creating for Meta or their advertising efforts.
I think that the way we think about it is, well, usually, like you said, when you put time and effort into this, what the product gallery, let's put a name into it. Once, like it's a project, and you launch a product, and then you can spend some effort. Maybe you do video, maybe not, but then you set it and you forget about it. There is no analytics. You don't keep traction. You don't optimize, and you kind of move all your efforts, all your executive efforts to understand how the growths come. And that's why you put your attention primarily to ads. But we're starting to seeing a change into this paradigm. I think part of it is technology that is improving, and part of it is a solution that we can bring to the table. And I hope we're going to see more video in the coming years, kind of taking over the product gallery.
So for the session, we kind of got like 3 chapters we'll roll through. Today, we're going to talk about just like why PDP or why video on your PDP matters. We'll go through, you got some cool examples that we'll roll through of how brands are using video on their PDP. We'll talk about how to actually go about creating video, and try and bust some general myths when it comes to, the effort and perhaps even costs on producing video. And then lastly, the exciting topic of AI and how and when you can use AI to create some of these product videos where it's where it's doing really well and where maybe it's not doing very well. So those are kind of like the three chapters that we'll roll through today.
How much time do we have? Because only AI we can probably spend an hour. But
I know, it's true. We could probably do a second session on that specifically, but we got everyone for an hour today, so we still got lots of time to roll through these things. We'll try and leave some time at the end, depending on how engaged everyone is, and if we got some volunteers, let us know. Share your PDPs, our links, and we can go through some examples as well.
Awesome.
All right, so maybe we'll kick things over to you to start. So the kind of the first topic here is why PDP, why it matters. What are some good examples of how brands are using it? And like I said, I think there's a lot of brands who are, obviously using video within their product or their media gallery on their PDPs. But like we said, it's often like a project and it can be neglected. But maybe go into how you guys think about the importance of video and specifically high quality video on PDPs, why it's important.
So maybe if I can share my screen for a second, I want to just again show a typical PDP, right? And I chose a product. This is an HP laptop. This is a classic one where you have images here. You use some of the images to have data. More often than usual, you go down to actually understand the different reviews and like different stats that are related to the product. So that's what we call the classic or the traditional product gallery. Honestly, it's pretty much the same across you come across the same gallery across all vendors. This is like HP directly. If you go to Amazon, you are likely to see the same image with the same sort of framework, if you will. Now, what we're trying to do is, again, move this entire thing into a complete video. And once you see it on a video, obviously you can start understand the look and feel. And many of the aspects that are traditionally put in text, you can actually see them. So you don't need to go and read all the specs and understand what are the connectors. You can actually see it in live over the product. And that's obviously way faster and way more engaging from a consumer perspective. It's not only that kind of was our assumption, but I can tell you that it's not only assumption. This is backed by data. So specifically this site, Walmart, they run kind of an A/B test against what we call the traditional gallery. And across the board, they've seen an improvement of 30%, more than 30% in conversion rates. So we know that video works. There's a reason why consumers spend most of their time watching videos. Now there is a question why most companies are not spending a lot of time or like investing a lot of resources into bringing videos above the fold. And I have a few hypotheses, right? So one of them is site speed, right? I think that's a main concern of many of kind of e-com. This is some of the things that we're hearing. That's one. Then you have cost of production. Usually it's very expensive to produce high quality video. But it's not only the cost of production, it's a thing. You need to set it up with an agency. And if you want to do lifestyle photos, so it requires you to deliver the items to a specific place and set it up, it's a headache. So at the end of the day, you ended up doing one video. And by the time that you have this video, you already have a new product with a new color, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why it's a bit cumbersome. And again, in Eko, we're trying to kind of change this paradigm and make everything way, way more accessible. And that's actually led us to create this, what we feel are better display and better demonstration of each and every product in ranges of different categories. So that would be a chair for babies, where you can really, really easily change colors. And that would be an ice bath, right, that I mentioned earlier, where you can really see the experience and how a person, it's not Ben, by the way, getting an ice bath, right? And you can understand very clearly the dimensions instead of reading. again, and it's also, I'm showing it on a desktop. Obviously, we have a slightly different experience for mobile, but the idea that if you get it right, people prefer to consume video and get their data through video rather than text. Essentially, everything in kind of the way we envision it, everything on a PDP can get into a video, including, by the way, reviews and UGC, things that again, right now are kind of scattered throughout different PDPs. I know this is also one of your favorite examples, so I'm going to show it and have you ask any questions if you have in the meantime.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of my favorite things about specifically what you guys do is like the interactivity. I almost like view the video module on the left hand side on desktop here as almost like its own landing page, like its own page, because you can interact with all of the tiles, and then even within the tiles, you can go through certain features or different video elements. I think what you guys have done is really interesting, and we were chatting with Mike at Rally last week, and he was talking about how he worked with you guys to create these videos. And Orbital's a good example because the orbital massager, like massagers is not a new category, but they're trying to break out into their own subcategory of massagers, and there's a certain level of education that was needed for their product to make sure that people understand how theirs was different. And they thought that video was the best possible way to do that. And I think the interactivity of the video module here is like a huge asset, because you can go through and understand the technology of the product, how it's used. There's a lot of different elements of this that it does a really good job. So yeah, I think the Rally one and the other ones, and just the interactivity in general, was a really cool thing.
Yeah, and again, by interactivity is like having the users kind of lean in. Again, my thought process is very much influenced by my background with ads. And I don't know if you remember, when ads started on mobile, it was like a very small text, like a banner ads, and then it went to what we call full interstitial text. Then it became like video ads, right? That was a thing. And then came what we call playable ads. It's like you could play the actual game. And I've seen like every improvement you've seen, once you introduce some sort of an interactivity, it works. Conversion rate went up. Clients were more engaging, downloaded more, and eventually ended up being a client. So we see the same pattern here. Whenever we have something that is more interactive, we see consumers spend more time kind of interacting with the product, getting educated. And at the end of the day, not only buying the product, one thing that we kind of witnessed is reduced rate of returns. Why? Because they really understand what they're buying. Yeah. There are no surprises. They understand the dimensions. So across the board, again, it works for our clients, and I think it works also for Raleigh, as far as I know.
Yeah, very cool. Maybe you can like walk us through, whether it's Rally or a different example, but maybe you can talk a little bit about how some of these videos are created in the process, because I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, so I think that what we were trying to solve, because again, our assumption, and that's an important baseline that everyone will have when having this conversation, is essentially, do you think that the video converts better than? And I'm moving between other examples just for us to be fun.
Yeah, that's okay.
Do you think that video is kind of converting better than text, right? So let's say this is the assumption, and everyone agrees. That's actually this is a very cool example of swimsuit, right? So you can have this. Even we'll talk about fashion. It's like a different has different issues, but it works also with fashion. But going back to kind of the challenge that we're trying to solve is how to make what seems to be very high quality fashion production or any video production, make it affordable from a cost perspective, and make it a no-brainer for the brand, for e-com companies. And I think that's where technology comes really handy, and that was kind of the challenge that we had. And essentially, I think we solve for two things that traditionally are very manual. A is the way we shot the actual video. We do it through robotics camera. We have a special facility right now. It's in Bentonville, Arkansas, which essentially you ship the product to, and there is some obviously manual intervention, but it's very, very, very minimal. So there's how you capture the footage. And then something that I've learned, and I'm not sure how people that are not from the field are familiar with, lots of, or much of the work is actually done in a post-production, like the color correction and many different things to make sure that the video looks really, really good. There's a lot of work that is done manually with people working on a software. This all can be automated, and that's kind of what we've done. And I think we've done it successfully. And with AI now, it's kind of being accelerated by multipliers. So yeah, that's kind of to shed some light on the process.
Does I guess that the act of shooting the content differs based off of the type of product, like lifestyle versus like a physical product, and if you want to focus on certain aspects or features of the product, like the process might differ. But when you guys are working with brands, does the process change in terms of figuring out how you want to shoot the product, figuring out what the interactive elements are going to be? Like, how do you guys go about that process and helping brands?
So there's a fine balance between scale, which obviously bring efficiency and reduce price, and between having it super customized and tailored per brand. I think that's some of the challenges that we're experiencing. We try to look at it in categories, and for each and every category, we want to have one use case that we prove that it's working. Meaning, a use case would be a template, right? It's like a series of shots, understanding what are the interactive hooks that actually gets clients for this specific category interested and provide information. And once when we go through it, we have a creative team that works through that and kind of design what we call a template. And once we have a template, obviously there is a room for each and every brand to bring its own nuances. We're trying to keep it somehow limited. At the end of the day, once we have it proved, and we kind of test proof in live to understand, to measure it against what we call the traditional gallery and make sure that it creates an uplift in sales. Once we have that, we can replicate that. So I show you, let me see if I can find another, because we have another ice bath, right? So that would, let's see if it works. I want to show you another example of an ice bath, similar to the one I showed you before. So this is the one I showed you before. No, it's not. It's not coming to life. I will find another example so you can see exactly what are the differences between and the nuances between kind of similar templates.
So wait, so I just want to make sure I'm understanding that correctly. So you guys basically figure out a format that works for certain, like for a specific client or brand that you're working with, and then you carry that forward across other products that you like within their catalog, or that's like category wide between merchants.
No, it's category wide. So gotcha. bags would be one category, and we replicate it across for different brands of bags, and computers is another category. Again, there's hundreds and thousands of categories, and we're trying to focus on the one that are actually a category that you can address at the beginning. But we do see it eventually goes, and each and every product we feel like deserves the same treatment.
What about, like, in my own experience, like the video specifically has so many barriers. There's the actual, production and the equipment that's needed to produce the video. There's also like the direction that needs to be given when shooting the content. And then frankly, between like the actual production of content and everything that's done in post-production, like video can take a long time. I'm curious, when you're working with clients, like what a typical timeline is from start to finish to produce this stuff.
So we started, it took us 16 weeks from like shipping. What we measure is shipping to actual going live. Now, granted that probably to shoot and capture everything was 8 weeks. A lot of it also derived from integration, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I would say the average time is 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. And we're aiming to bring it to 1 week, which again, we're building a facility and technology that we believe that by January that's going to be the new standard. And
1 week.
Think about what it will entail, right? Yeah, you would ship your product. Again, we're outside of the integration, but from the minute you ship your product, you get a file or like you get this gallery which you need to integrate. You can do it. Obviously, you can do it in a few hours. So within 1 week, you can actually be live and test it.
That's super impressive. That makes it so approachable for all brands. Holy cow, 1 week. What's the difference between, I mean, maybe you can't go into detail, but what's the difference between what takes 6 weeks versus where you're trying to get to with 1 week? What needs to happen?
Yeah, right now, where there is we want to be able to do all brands. So we're building ourselves the robots. This is something that we took upon ourselves. We used to kind of work with other companies. Now we're kind of owning the entire technology. So that's one. And then the entire the post-production thing that was in color correction that was done partially with manuals, everything is going to be automated. So think about it. There's going to be for each product, there's going to be a script. There's going to be once we get an order, we know what's the product. There is a script that goes into the computers. Someone gets it in a factory. It is a factory. Weight it, measure it, make sure we capture everything. We unbox the product. We read the product manual. As everything is being captured as a data source, and then there's the actual physical video shooting of the product, and within not a few minutes, but no more than an hour, it should be out. And now the only thing that is left out is actually go through some sort of a software manipulation and making sure that the video that was shot is actually edible in the way that you've seen. And we have a product which is, we call it the Smart Gallery, that is ready to be delivered.
As anyone who's ever produced video before can attest, like having all of that done in 1 week is just insane. Like, and a massive, massive asset for merchants who want to create video like this. So that's super cool.
Yeah. By the way, here is an example of a similar chair, right? That you've seen, and like just to make a point, the earlier point that you it's not the same. But some of the elements that you've seen in the other products are the same. So there is some sort of a way to templatize things and make it way more efficient.
As I'm watching all these videos, yeah, I'm curious if, and maybe this veers into the AI conversation, but as I'm watching these videos, maybe if you can go back to just like the opening shot of like the kind of the 360 of the chair in this case, or really any of the examples. I'm wondering, maybe if you can give just a little bit more info about like, yeah, even like a shot like this, is this quite literally a camera on a robot doing a 360 around a product? Or how much of the what we see here in the final version is manipulated somehow in post?
No, that's actually a camera. It's not only like it's a few cameras, honestly. And we have cameras that actually goes in sometimes for smaller device. Yeah, let me show you something. It's really cool. So check this out. So that's a computer, and now there is a camera that goes almost like in a very, very cinematic manner. So again, it's a combination of a few types of camera that manage to produce it, and the way we stitch it, that's kind of part of the technology. I called it like the Apple grade video shots that now we can bring to any brand, right? It's almost look like Apple has done this video, but it's not, and it's not cast as an Apple production. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, that's a good comparison to make. So I would be curious what you would say. So I mean, I've seen your feed's probably similar. I'm seeing all these videos of like VO3 and all these AI generated videos coming up in my feed over the last, like, you know, specifically the last couple of weeks with VO and all these other tools, AI tools that have become available. What would you say to someone who said, like, I want to create something like this myself using AI. I think it's possible to do this faster and like in a perhaps a less expensive or resource costly way. I'd be curious because AI is getting a lot better. What would you say to that?
Lots of things, but if I have, but if I have to start, and we were kind of early adopters, and we have a team that works with AI, and in a sense, the dream of someone pulling out their phone and taking a photo of its product, that's kind of our dream as well. Like, we don't think of it as a competition. I think once we get such a high quality, we're still going to have the gallery and the interactivity, and there's going to be a lot of room for us, and it's make it just more efficient and more available. Right now, we're very far from this stage, and I want to demonstrate it by example that we've done. Just to make a point. So the biggest thing with taking an image, one image, and create a video out of it is what we call product consistency. What you see in here is like examples of we try, and we are doing it constantly. We took an image and we try to replicate it different, and every day there is a new technology that is getting better and better, by the way. And you see here in all examples, this is a product that actually, you see how AI is hallucinating, right? Because you have the front, which is different from the back, but AI, when it needs to do a 360, it doesn't understand that. So it makes up a product. I'm talking on the right image. In the middle, you have someone interacting with the stroller, as you could see. Really, really hard for them if you put only the stroller to now match it with the model that's actually playing. Or everything that is interaction or action involved is really, really hard. And on the left side, you see also, again, there is we upload a photo of the driller and we try to create this 360. It's almost impossible. Now, for some products, it is possible. If you have a simple product, if you have a glass, which is the same across all angles, then yes, you can do it. Potentially shoes, like things that are smaller, not very complex, you can to a certain extent, but it's still a challenge. Now, what we found out where AI is really, really great is once you have actually the video captured, now there's a bunch of things you can do with AI really, really well, because AI plays really, really well when everything that is kind of from your imagination, it can take it from the web. The only thing that you want to really, really accurate when it comes to product is your own, especially if it's something that it launched and there is no actual, wherever you want to take it. You need like an actual video of your product, and you don't want to have like someone else rollers on your PDP, right? So you want your own with its own features, etc., etc. So example would be this is the dog crates that we captured. And when we got asked, they wanted to do actually a campaign. Sorry, let me pull the right example. Now I want to show you this one. Okay, they want to do a campaign because one of the features of the product is actually for that you can carry this crate to the airport, right? So they want to demonstrate that. So here's something we created with AI. I hope it will upload fast enough. I'm having issues with connections today.
That's all right.
All right. Let's see. You can see something. Give it a second. No. Okay. I can show you maybe a different example.
I just need some time to buffer in the background.
Yeah. So let's see if this is going to work. So these are all furnitures that, again, we captured. And let's see if I can bring this. Yes, this one is faster. So you see this table? The table was captured with us in the video, but the background is completely made with AI. And that's
So
like you get a very high quality video.
So
replacing
the
or
table and
changing.
chairs, you captured this in like a studio environment, and then you're manipulating the setting that it's being shown in.
Correct. Let me show you another example. This is a different chair, but again, you understand it's you can play now with the environment, and that's really opens the way to tons of different examples that we can play with. Let me show you. Okay, this is also a funny one. This is what you see here. The light was captured, right? We captured the video of the light. Now look at the video. We just captured the light itself, and now you can switch with the light. You can create like different camera movement and motions. Everything here was made with AI, but the actual lighting. Okay, this is probably the original photo of the lighting, but the room was created. It was never shot in this room.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are examples that we feel very comfortable, and we're pushing it actually and we work with our clients to push it through. But we're not at the point right now that you can actually take a shot and create it. I can show you maybe another example. Okay, so you see this. This is a real model with a real swimsuit. Let's see if it works. This was never shot. Essentially, it's the same model, but the color was done with AI.
Yeah, that was going to be my
And
next
that's
question
really
was what products, like what product aspects if you're using AI to change them. And color was the first question I was going to ask, because I think I saw an example of you guys changing the color of a stroller as well. So it's really cool to see it on a lifestyle, like on a model. That's a really good example.
So,
And
so in
is
the
that
past,
where you would say, like, when you say a sentence like using AI to help scale video production, is this kind of what you're referring to? Yeah.
Correct. Two things that we're seeing very valuable. A, it's getting much better once you capture video now to translate it into different sizes, different like variants, basically. Whether color sizes, but you need like a first. So you train a model on kind of the first real video, and then you can manipulate it with AI. And also background replacement. That would be like the first areas that I would go to. And again, this is something that everyone with a good video footage, not necessarily needs to be done with us. This is where I would really advise you to go and kind of play with the tools. We have now a new it's a new work. It's a new role. We call it AI artist, right? These are the guys that actually sit with the videos and put in the prompts. It's not easy. There are a lot of hallucination and things you need to work in the middle, but that's where you can where I can see lots of value. The last thing that I would say is also if you want to create a really fine movement of a photo, that's also feasible. Like someone moving slightly, that's applicable for jewelry, for example. So if you have an image of a lady with an earrings and you want her to move a little bit, that's also something that you could do today with AI, and you don't need to do the actual video, but it's not going to last more than 5 seconds. Otherwise, it gets really creepy, and it's really hard to understand whether it's.
Does it just becomes like artificial looking after a certain period? Is that why like it's just too much?
Yeah.
In this example here with Andy, is the model is the model moving in the same way between color variants, or is she like the actual model herself AI generated, or is it just the product color?
No, it's a real model. And again, we shot the black, and honestly, back then we shot the red as well. These were 2 separate shootings. For the blue, we managed to do it very well, and now we're getting to a point where you can do different patterns. In here, we can also do it with AI. It wasn't the case like, let's call it 3 months. So it's getting better and getting like fabrics, materials. Because by the way, this is one shot, right? But you want also this shot, which is a close up, to be the same. So let's see if I go to the blue one, you'll manage to see that it skips the same, so it's consistent, right? That's kind of the real challenge. It's not only one shot. You want it the same across a broad range of different angles and camera movement.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's a good call out. This is a really cool example.
By the way, funny thing, we actually discussed with them. There is a way to bring, like, we play with avatars, right, instead of models, and we show it to them. I don't have it right now, but I can maybe show it to someone who will ask. If essentially it feels a bit creepy to them, right? It feels not natural, avatar things. But I assume so for other brands it would feel okay. It would be good enough, right? Not, it depends kind of where you position yourself as a brand and how do you want to play out. Avatar might work as well, but it's still not as natural as or your kind of human eye notice that it's not a real model.
Yeah, do you think that will change as consumers get more and more used to seeing avatars or manipulated imagery, whatever you want to call it? You think that'll change?
It's the $1 million question. Yesterday, I watched a musician. He was hearing like musical sounds or like someone playing guitar, and he needed to understand whether it's fake or AI, whether it's AI or it's a real one. And he noticed it. Like, he managed to kind of notice it. I want to say that in the future it will be we'll keep on noticing, but honestly, I think like eventually AI will be good enough to replicate it 100%. That's where I am.
Yeah, I think some of these examples are so great. I had seen Rally's example many times, but it's really cool to see it applied in like a lifestyle setting for Andy. I love the shot here where their swimsuit color is changing like in real time as the angle of the model changes. I think that's also a really that's an interesting application.
Let me show you one of my favorite features that I learned about swimsuit is that actually this is something that is very valuable for women. And again, the shots is the same shots, but the application of it came from the Andy team. So that's what I'm saying. When you have a template, right? And we productize the process of creating the video, but the application of it's infinite because you have all this content, and the way we treat it and we provide analytics behind it is kind of encouraging you to add more and more content. In these examples of the dog crates, that actually added the reviews, right? And UGC content. So and they tested it. They tested against, like, they started without it, they added it, and they've seen an uplift of 3% in conversion just from adding that. And why would it be on the third position and not on the second position or the fifth position? Everything can be played with and needs to be played constantly. That's what we're trying to encourage everyone to do, is in order to optimize the performance on a daily basis, adding badges to it. Think about the Christmas sale. If you want to add, now going back to AI, but if you want to add a Christmas tree in the background because it's Christmas time, now it's easy to do it with today's tools. So again,
what does it look like if you wanted to manipulate the background on this dog, on this dog crate example, and put it in front of a Christmas tree? Is that something that people can do themselves, or do they need your team to help manipulate that?
So right now it's a VR team with a director, but we're building these tools, and the way we envision it, we want to provide them at the end of the day a file that they can manipulate with every other service provider, not necessarily to it. We're seeing the direction that with AI, we kind of took the really weird position in the sense that we truly believe that you would like to have a physical capture of your product, even in a world where you're going to have lots of like improvement with current capabilities of AI. So you will ship it to us because it's going to be the most efficient and the most scalable way to do it, like the faster and the cheapest. You'll get a file, and from there on, you could play with it, and you can do lots of different applications. For example, now that the ChatGPT kind of connected to Shopify, and essentially where it's heading is like having you buy directly from ChatGPT, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where ChatGPT gets the information from, like if someone is looking for dog crates, it's for them, for ChatGPT is a real issue, right? They can, because they risking getting like not necessarily your product, different images from different sources. It's a thing right now. They are actually passing the burden to the brands, and every brand that want to participate needs to submit the assets. Okay, there is no like I'm going to call the web and get any assets. They want the brands to submit the real asset. We don't think it's going to change in the foreseeable future. We think brands will own their media even on ChatGPT, and we think that we can help them kind of own the best video, and from there on they can play with it on ChatGPT.
Yeah, really interesting. The whole theme of this is, using video to help improve the effectiveness and conversion rate of your PDP. Is there any interesting stories of brands you've worked with where over time they've tested and changed? You were talking about the location of the tiles or like the order of the modals on the left-hand side. Is there any interesting examples of, you guys built video, you launched this, and through findings, they're like, oh, actually, if we place this one in the first tile, it has a big impact on conversion rate?
Yeah, one brand that I would mention is Mockingbird. If you can see here, the first image, that's a lifestyle image. That's not an AI. That's actually they put a lot of money in the reproduction. The gallery started with a standard like 360 shot, and then and this was kind of very behind, and they tested it, and they've shown that showing a lifestyle first is better. At the same time, they've done the same experience on a different product, on the stroller, where you can see that here, actually the 360, and they measure lifestyle against like 360. They have also a lifestyle here, and the 360 here kind of won. So just to show you that it really changed by the product, and even within the same brand, you have different products, and a different way to present and to display your brand. Now they're checking with the high chair. Sorry, I want to show the high chair. They're checking. I don't know if you notice here. They said, let's check an image, not necessarily a video. We want to test an image. So this is a current testing that we're doing. We don't have results yet, but this is, for example, something that is relatively new. But again, we encourage the brands to do it. And it's really up to the brands to put the resources and kind of change their thinking, if you will, to make sure that they optimize correctly.
Oh man, really cool. These are some awesome examples. It makes total sense that you guys would equip brands with the ability to test this and play around with, image versus lifestyle versus 360 or all of the variants that, you allow them to use. It makes a lot of sense. Also, just seeing all these products, like it's cool to see the applications, all the different applications of video.
Yeah, there are bags in here. I'm gonna randomly scatter like apps. If I had a better connection, it would have been faster. But this is something we've done recently for bags. Again, showing it from different angle, closer look. You see how well you see the fabric, and like the quality. You can get the quality. You can literally get the quality of the product from seeing it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, and actually our best performing gallery is actually the original. It's a simple gallery. There is not much to explain about a watch, but see what, like when you really show it from this is a kind of a luxury item in a sense, right? You want to really understand how it looks and feel. It's almost like you had it in your hand, and that's for this type of products. It comes in really handy. they are kind of displaying it across all their catalog. But let's just for the sake of the example, let's see how it looks in kind of what we call the traditional gallery. It would look something like that, right?
Oh yeah, that's a good comparison.
Yeah. So it with time, again, the way we encourage brand to do it is like test it, see that it works, and then if it works and it makes sense, deploy it across your entire catalog.
Well, let's see if we have any willing participants at this point. I'll look out for your comments, but feel free to drop a link to your store. We can see Michael here shared a link to his store, milliepark.com, but feel free to share a link to your store and we can take a look at some of your PDPs if and how you're using video. We can do a bit of a teardown in real time.
So we want to go to
this one, yeah, let's see. Does this one Millie Park?
I'm going to stop share for a second.
I'm just taking a look at this Millie Park example.
Sure.
Let's see. This might be an interesting use case actually here. Maybe I can share.
It's women. Yeah, we said we're going to talk about fashion.
Yeah, be curious.
So a few things to notice about fashion. Again, there are different type of brands. Some brands do really have concerns about this. They want to have a specific models, right, that represent them. That's a bit of a customized work for us. Not a heavy lift in the sense that they can have their own, but we ask them to have their own models and kind of get them to our facility. So that would be one consideration if you're a fashion brand. Again, the site is great. I think that showing someone walking with a dress is going to be amazing. Let's see how many variants do they have for this. Is it only one or? Yeah, these are sizes. So size is less, but they don't have many colors, right? So that's another thing that I would look for. How many colors? But again, just showing the dress, they can do some work with what I call simple AI. Just have this image is a bit of a movement. It can work really well. They don't need us for that. If they want to do a whole kind of fashion production, someone walking like the Andy swimsuit, then probably would come in really handy as a choice between a full lifestyle production to something that is way more scalable and efficient from a cost perspective.
So you're saying that in some cases it might actually just be easier for brands, or make more sense, I should say, for brands to add some simple motion or manipulate their stuff using AI.
Correct.
What tools do you recommend, or have you used that you would recommend brands use?
Oh, I have a few names. That I can drop. There is one thing. I think it's called Omi. Let's see if I can find. I think I can write later on. There is a tool called Omi AI, but I can find the right address. For some reason, it's not loading in here.
Oh, good. Yeah, because that might be one of the questions that people would have is, if not, going full blown with Eco, is there other options, at least as a starting point, to see what AI is capable of or not capable
again,
of?
For some categories, it makes perfect sense to create a small movement just from a photo. If you're a computer, small movement won't help you, right?
What about like catalog size? Where does that come into consideration of whether or not they would want to work with a company like you guys to produce video?
So pricing wise, the way we price it is we price it for scale. So think about Walmart that is working with us. At the end of the day, they're not paying as much as a company with one product because they have the scale. Once we have the scale, it's easy for us to kind of drive efficiency in production. So that kind of goes all the way to the pricing to the client. There is a sliding scale. It's higher on if you have one or two. It's lower, but at the end of the day, and that's really that's important for me to always say, and that's why I insisted that our pricing would have this monthly capability to cancel. We don't want to capture anyone because we truly believe that the way you should look at it is as a performance driver. One of the issues that many times CEO can say, this is a marketing expense. So you have a marketing budget for videos. No, that's actually a growth performance expense, and it needs to be tied to the performance. And you need to try to test it, and if it makes sense and an uplift conversion, that's it. You deploy it across your entire catalog. It's worth kind of doing against your other priorities.
Yeah, almost like see this as like an exercise in CRO in many ways, like using video in the way that you've gone through today. It's just a way to improve conversion rate or something else to optimize and test on site.
And our best clients understand that it's a CRO exercise and it's not a one-time project. That's kind of going back to where we started. It's like conceptually, how do you think about your product gallery? Look, if I have to guess, I don't have I haven't quantified it, but what would you think are the main factors when someone is buying a product, right? You would say price, to an extent, logistics. It's super important, right? If you have it within a day or within a year, it's important, but it's how it looks and what's the product. And
yeah,
that's at least 30% of your decision is driven by how it looks. On some products, I would argue it's more on how it works, etc., like the ease of. But that's at the end of the day, that's what it is. That's what we're trying to improve.
Yeah. Well, I think this has been super interesting. I mean, I've just added a banner here, but if there's any other questions, feel free to shoot them into the comments, and we'll circulate them here. But Omri, this has been really interesting. I've learned a ton. One of the big questions that I had coming into this was, I know AI is such an interesting topic, but I was curious how AI played a role in the video content that you guys are producing. So it makes a lot of sense that you basically need to get the video to like basically a baseline, and then AI helps you guys scale it across variants or manipulate it in new ways. And that's where that scale comes in, and the AI plays a big role. It makes a ton of sense. But what you've created is a really awesome product, and I appreciate you bringing all the examples to the live today. I think it was really helpful.
Thank you. Really appreciate the time, and happy to answer any questions if you guys have. Just shoot me a message.
Yeah, that was going to be my last question was, if anyone is watching this and they're curious about how to get the process started with Eko, what's the best directive to give them?
Eko.com, you'll find your way, I'm sure. LinkedIn.
Love it.
It feels like in this world, people know how to get to one another.
Cool. Well, thanks again for joining. It's been a pleasure. It's been really interesting.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care, everyone.